What's up, everyone? Marc Lobliner, TigerFitness.com. Man, you know what I realized this year? I'm 44 years old, and I'm not trying to be Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers here. I'm not trying to make a huge comeback, but I think my days of competing are over. And here's why. Like in December, I actually got permission from my wife. Now, you're a simp. Yes. Yes, I am. No, here's the deal. Like, my wife doesn't like me competing. I really don't blame her. It's kind of a waste of time. It's not good for you. But in December, I'm like, hey, I want to do this. She's like, cool. So in December, like mid-December, I'm like, let's go. Now, normally when I start training hard, when I lock in for a show, I seem to get like, it's weird to say because I don't like start blasting gear or anything, but things start happening, right? Like my quads start getting a little bit bigger, a little bit veinier, and everything starts kind of clicking in. And this year I gave it like a month and nothing clicked. I was click free. And that's when I realized that maybe Father Time is still undefeated. So again, we'll see how things go. But what I noticed is that I do a lot of coaching. I do a lot of movement. And bodybuilding, you're pushing really, really hard. And you are putting yourself in a very strained position. And I've noticed that I've pushed through and pushed through and pushed through. And just middle of last year, I was coaching movement and I must have moved wrong. I don't remember when I did it, but I remember I woke up the next morning and my adductor on my left side and my hip flexor done. And I also have this tight IT band now where I'll wake up in the middle of the night with this pain in my left knee. Like I tore something, but I didn't. I still function optimally, but it's so tight that I'm having tremendous issues with it. So I'm still able to train, but my left leg is now getting weaker than my right leg because I'm compensating, which caused my right leg to be sore. And I don't want to live like that. I still got a long time on this earth, God willing, and I don't want to feel like that. So I'm looking into what I can do, and I'm doing all the rehab, prehab on my own. And I was actually on a wrestling trip. We drove up to Fort Wayne, Indiana from Nashville, Tennessee. And I was sitting by one of my wrestling coach friends. His name's Coach Hatcher. And so we're talking about like training because that's what athletic dudes do. And he's like, yeah, you know, I train, but I don't get hard. I train really hard, but I don't get sore. I don't get hard. I don't get sore because I don't want it to affect my yoga. I'm like, time out. Like you're a combat guy. Like, right. You're like one of the best wrestling coaches in the country. You're doing yoga? Yeah, I do yoga like 3-4 days a week. I'm like, what? This guy's in no pain. This guy's just moving around, rolling around with the kids, showing moves. I can't do that right now. I don't have the mobility. So I'm like, So I'm looking into it, and my daughter tried it once, and she keeps trying to get me to go. And I'm like, you know what? I think yoga might help me in hot yoga because it'll get my joints nice and warmed up and lubricated. So I did it for the first time this morning. Humbling. I'm actually, I could hold a lot of the positions, but I noticed that when I was trying to stand, there's one where you stand, I don't know what it's called. She was using some weird yoga language. So like you stand on your left leg and I'm supposed to grab my foot and straighten it all the way out. And I'm like, So I was able to do it with my right leg, standing on my right leg, my left leg, So I'm like, doing all this mobility. I come out of there. Shirt stretched. Lucky I had to change a shirt, right? I went through 2 towels. I'm sweating my tuchus off, right? So I come home, jump in the plunge. And today, I'll tell you what, this is the first time I don't have an achy back. This is the first time I haven't had a shooting pain in my legs sitting at the chair. And I feel amazing. And it's like, imagine all the benefits of the sauna, but you're also getting the benefits of the movement. And I can't do it on my own. I can't sit in my living room and watch a YouTube video and do it. I can't do it. So I found the hot room in Brentwood, Tennessee, man. And I went there and it was an hour of awesome. Like I feel great. My joints feel better. Everything feels better. And the breathing I found like did something mentally to me that opened up my mind. It was crazy just learning how to breathe. That could have been a workout in itself, but it was 60 minutes of awesome. Awesome. I'll be doing it Monday and Friday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are my sure training days, but I'm definitely not doing it after leg day. Can't imagine doing it after leg day. Now, I've altered my training where I'm not doing as many machines, not as much strain on, single axial, single joints, all that good stuff. So I looked into the benefits of hot yoga, and I think everyone here should give it a shot. Even if you go once a week, once every 2 weeks, just the mobility and the breathing and everything involved is just so good. So here are some benefits from hot yoga. One is obviously increased flexibility. When you warm up a muscle, when you're in a warm setting, you ever try and do something physical when it's cold out? Like, you're a little bit tighter, but here's the thing. My joints are, well, they're joints. Like, they've been used and abused for years. And no matter what the rehab and prehab I do, they're still going to be a little bit beaten up. So by having that warmth, I'm able to get better into the stretch, get more mobility, and get more, I'm doing all this rotary, you're doing all the twisting and stuff. Felt great. And another thing is, you look at recovery. How do you recover? Now, we learned that ice doesn't work. Rest, ice, compression, elevation. We don't do that anymore. So how does it work? Well, you increase the blood flow. That's why the Marc Pro works. I use the Marc Pro too, marcpro.com, coupon code Lobliner if you want to look into it, get like 20% off. They're expensive, but I use it all the time, especially when I have an acute injury, because what it does, it puts these 2 stim units and boom, 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 and it pumps blood into the area that speeds up oxygen and nutrients to the injured area, which helps it recover. Ice stunts the recovery process. Blood flow will increase your recovery process, right? And then reduce muscle tension. So the heat, while you might do this normally, it can alleviate some of the spasms and things that can come. So if you have a back or a muscle strain, which I have, man, it was great. It will help you build strength, that unilateral strength. And we know that balance is such a huge part of morbidity risk. You fall, you break your hip, you're old, you die. You just die. And this really helps to mitigate a lot of those risks. A lot of the balancing moves I see I can carry on for a long, long time. Okay. So it also builds strength. We talked about strength, mind, body. So you're controlling your breathing, you're reducing your stress. And honestly, it's really hard. So just like I do the cold plunge mainly for mental toughness, I do this because it was hard and it's not something I'm used to. It's definitely something I'm not used to. So some things to consider, right? One is talk to your doctor. If you're like really sick, you have a bad heart, I can see where this might be really dangerous. Another thing that I had to do is modify poses. If you have a good instructor like I did, great instructor from what I can tell, I've never had a bad one. This is my first one. She noticed that I couldn't get into certain poses. So she gave me alternatives for my big, dumb, unlimber ass to do. That was awesome. Hydration is key. I always have hydroglyph in my cup. So I had my hydroglyph going, and you could take sips during class as needed. Hydrate a little bit before, not too much because you'll have to pee during class and that could be awkward. And just afterwards, just hydrate, get those electrolytes in. And overstretching, right? Know your limits. If something feel like it's about to snap, don't do it. So here's what the best applications are. Most of you people here, 80% of Americans have low back pain. I have low back pain occasionally. Low back pain, mild muscle strain. I have 2 of those. Joint stiffness, I have 3 of those. And of course, if you have an injury, a hip injury, a knee injury, you can modify those. It'll help that recovery. So again, when do you not want to use that? Acute injuries with swelling and inflammation. Again, it could exacerbate it. If you recently fractured yourself or had surgery, if you have severe joint instability or ligament tears, those are things you want to avoid. But honestly, I encourage you guys to give it a try. I took too long to do this. Really happy I did it. My days are going to be Monday and Friday. I'm very excited about that. And who knows? This might take over weight training as something I do more frequently. Like, I'm at the point now where if I get 3 good days of weights in, I'm really happy. But, I love lifting. I love lifting heavy things, and hopefully this can help me continue to lift heavy things throughout time. But that's what I got for this. But be sure to like this video, click on notification bell, and subscribe. But don't do it in that order. Subscribe, then click on the notification bell. And go to tigerfitness.com if you want to get Ambrosia Hydroglyph, Ambrosia Planta. Go to tigerfitness.com if you want to get MTS Whey, Outright Bars, Creapure Creatine. Coupon code is MAHA, M-A-H-A, MAHA. Gets you 10% off the entire site. That's how you support me. That's how you support this channel. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. Love you guys. If you do give this a shot, if you've ever tried it, I want you to comment down below. What do you think about hot yoga? Do you still do it? Do you want to do it again? Did you hate it? I want to know. Comment down below. Love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Marc Lobliner, and that's not a game. Are you currently taking LMNT for your electrolytes? That's great. Electrolytes are very important, especially for athletes. The problem is I think they took it a little too far. 1,000 milligrams of sodium per packet. That's great if you're an endurance athlete running in high temperatures, 100 plus. But if you're not perspiring that much, if you're not doing that much activity, if you're simply exercising, well, normally, it's a lot. You're looking at intake, you take a few packets, 10,000 milligrams of sodium a day. So what I like to do is I like to flavor all my water with electrolytes because electrolytes are vitally important for you to intake. Now, what do? I take Ambrosia Hydroglyph. So Ambrosia Hydroglyph, available in stick packs as well as bags. Now, it's beyond sodium, potassium, magnesium. It has other things that'll help your body keep muscle and perform better. It has the essential amino acids. It has your branched chain amino acids. It has velocitol, which doubles the power of those amino acids. It even has my HMB. So if you're really training hard, it staves off muscle loss. If you're looking for something well beyond the current electrolyte you're taking, something that won't overdo it, but give you everything needed to perform at your best and be as healthy as possible, Ambrosia Hydroglyph is your choice.